Cosplay is more than just people dressing up as their favorite pop culture characters. It's an art form. It's a community of like-minded folks showing off their talents. And we're lucky enough to have professional model/cosplayer Nikki Phung with us during this video podcast episode of My Big Fat Playlist. Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, geeks of all ages, and of course, our loyal listeners, to another edition. It's a little weird. It's a video podcast, but it's also an audio podcast. Oh, my brain is exploding. I'm Mr. X.
I'm Smurfy.
Dr. Impact.
Hangman himself, live and in living color, Pistol Danger.
And yes, that's right, folks. We're back. All of our interviews are going to be recorded video-wise because, you know, video's where it's at. But because all the other big podcasts out there do video and just take the audio and put it on their podcasting platforms, we're going to do it too. So if you're just listening to this episode, we will take some time and describe a few things because you listen to the intro, it's about cosplay. So it's costume play. We're going to be dressed up, everybody. So if you're not watching this, you're really missing out.
Yeah, you're really going to want to switch over because, you know, once we come back from our little break here, we're going to get into costume and you're going to want to see what we're dressed as, us knuckleheads, before, you know, you see, you know, a professional join us doing it.
And speaking of professionals, which we are not, but we try to be, we have a Patreon page. Don't know if you know about it. I know it's a little weird to be asking people to support a Patreon page during a pandemic, but, you know, it's there. There's exclusive content. If you want some, go for it. If you don't, we totally understand.
Just listening is enough to support us too.
That's right.
Or you can go watch us on YouTube.
We're on YouTube right now, Smurfy.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, this is YouTube.
This is YouTube right now. Well, I mean, if you're watching it right now, we are. Yeah.
Yes, this is YouTube. They can find us, however, on our multitude of other social medias like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
That's right.
Well, without any further ado, let's get to what we're all here for. Let's get dressed up.
Changing time.
YouTube magic.
Look at all these colorfully dressed folks on this screen.
Wow, everybody looks great.
Absolutely amazing. I feel like I'm at a convention. During quarantine, I feel like I'm at a convention. This is so awesome. And the whole reason we are doing this is because of our special guest. I would like to say professional model, professional cosplayer. Let's just say that. Because with your getup, that's professional grade. Nikki Phung. Yes, and I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, Phung, right?
You are.
Okay, good. Because I hear that your nickname is Phung Shui.
Yes, play on my name.
That's totally awesome. Now most of us go by superhero names here to protect our real identities because, you know, we all have jobs and lives and we don't want people to know who we really are. Although, why did we start doing video, guys? I mean,
Yeah. What was the point of that?
yeah,
What the
it's-
costumes
That was the doctor's fault.
that's right. That's what the costume's for.
Right, that's why we wear masks.
Yes,
Good call,
even
buddy.
while we podcast. And for all you people listening to this episode, we are all dressed up as, I would say, either our favorite character or the character we had a costume available for. Nikki, since you are our guest, please tell everybody who you are dressed as.
So for this, I am wearing Himiko Toga from My Hero Academia. I have her full gear on, including her needles to, steal blood and be villainous.
Ah, bad guys. Gotta love bad guys. Smurfy.
I am Flint from the epic series G.I. Joe cartoon and comic book.
Not Duke.
Nope, Flint.
Duke's
his
brother.
Flint, correct.
Right. Okay. Pistol.
I'm, of course, the Bang Man,
What?
Frank Castle.
I thought Pistol was the Bang Man.
That's
Wow.
yeah.
You clearly don't know everything.
You make things difficult for the people who aren't watching, they're listening. But that's Pistol. And Dr. Impact.
I am the Shield from the Mighty Crusaders, and anybody out there who is listening knows that Mr. X and I have been in producing and in development on a fan film for these characters for some time. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of show the suit in progress. Not done yet, but in progress.
For not being done, let me just say, holy crap.
We're
Looks pretty
getting
good,
there.
man.
We're
Looks
getting
good.
there. Movie magic.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to when it's done and it's in front of the camera. I, of course, for all you listeners, I am dressed as Cyclops. And I'm going movie version Cyclops because it's a lot easier to get a leather jacket than blue spandex.
I can
and
see
a
that.
headdress. But this is the visor. The visor that I'm wearing is what I got for my wedding. My wedding was actually costume themed. It was an X-Men wedding. I was
Oh, cool.
Cyclops. Yeah, I was Cyclops. My wife was Jean Grey. Well, Phoenix technically, because she bought a green bridesmaid dress and altered it to where it looked like a wedding dress, but it was nice and green. So we're talking Phoenix, not Dark Phoenix. She didn't want to go evil for the wedding. And then the wedding party were all X-Men.
Yeah, it was
Who
a lot
is
of fun.
Dr. Impact?
Dr. Impact was Logan. He was Wolverine.
That's what I would have guessed. Okay.
Back when I had a little bit more hair.
Right. Well, yes.
Yep.
So we are talking about cosplay, costume play, and in our intro, we did touch upon how people who are not in the know, who are not in the let's just say the geek community, when they think of cosplay, one thing that comes to their mind, scantily clad women wearing outfits.
And men.
And men, but it is mostly women. Now, of course, if I had it, I'd flaunt it and I'd do it, but I don't, and I'm not.
So you won't.
I'm not. Yes, so I won't. But give me time. I'm shedding pounds as we speak.
Mhm.
It's a warm house and it's leather. So, but cosplay is more than just scantily clad individuals posing for the cameras. And I want to know, and I'm sure our viewers and listeners want to know, why cosplay? What attracted you to the medium?
Well, as much as I love clad women and, skimpy outfits in anime, I'm wearing a sweater, so, it's not all of them. When I first moved to Florida, I didn't have any friends down here because I was new, and they were advertising for MegaCon. And I was like, well, I've loved anime since I was little. And I was like, why don't I go to a convention? I was like, but, social anxiety. So I was like, what if I wear a costume? Because why not? It's always fun to see other people and their variations, and cosplay gives you that freedom to express yourself and your favorite characters and how you view them. And I like has that freedom. And I've been in the cosplay community for about a year and a half, and everybody's been so inclusive. So it's just fun to represent your characters the way you want to. And I really enjoy cosplaying with my friends.
Nice.
Well, let me ask you this, Nikki. So when you're making your own costumes, like how much time, effort, research, all that goes into it? Like, give me, like, if you're going to do a cosplay, are you starting 15 months out or like 15 hours out?
Well, realistically, you should start, 4 to 5 months out, depending on the build. I am a terrible procrastinator, so I usually do it in a month.
Okay.
Don't recommend. The last one that I did was probably Garna from Naruto, and I had to build his gourd, and because of how long paper mache takes to, dry, it took me like 8.5 hours to build just his gourd.
I saw that gourd. That was like that was life size, by the way, folks.
It
like,
was a life-size replica because I wanted it to be authentic.
Yeah, that was ginormous.
And for those who don't know who Gara is, obviously he's from the Naruto series. Would you like to explain who he is and what his powers are, and why the gourd is so important to the character?
So Gara is just a salty beat in the beginning, and he is a Sand sibling and a rival to Naruto during the beginning of the series. Later, they're friends. But basically, Sand protects him. He's a Sand sibling. He carries Sand and his gourd on his back, and he uses it to attack people. And he wears guy liner, and I'm a fan, so I had to be him.
Okay. I'm more of a Rock Lee person myself, but I can respect
Drunken
that.
Fist. I support that.
Yeah.
Now, Nikki, do you make everything yourself?
Yes and no. So
Okay.
I'm terrible at sewing. I
Got you.
tried to make Bakugo's gloves. It's literally 2 pieces of material, orange and green, and it took me 4 tries before I could fit my fingers in it. So
Okay.
I'm definitely a prop person. I mean, his gauntlets were great. Kirishima's gears for his shoulders, toga. I'm a prop person.
Yeah, okay.
Ask me to
'Cause, like,
sew anything.
all of this stuff is authentic from like a military like surplus store. So it's like real bandoliers, real shotgun shells, real hat. So yeah,
If
like
you can find it, by all means. Like, that's the hardest part, is finding things that are canon to the character for the quality that you're wanting, especially online. It's very much a gamble, and it's really hard. So
Right.
like, if I can make it myself, I'm going to, unless it's clothing and I'm going to buy it, or I've commissioned a few pieces locally because I'm terrible at sewing.
yeah, no, and like that's for everyone out there who is interested in doing cosplay but too terrified. Like, don't be afraid to go out and buy some of your stuff. If it saves you time and hassle, do it. As long as my opinion, as long as it looks good and makes you feel good about wearing it, do it.
Now, do you have, so I'm going off the script here, do you have a place you like to order things from? A lot of my cosplay comes from my pro wrestling career. So like I got the vest at Amazon and the spray paint from Michaels, whatever, but I've commissioned actual pieces like Craven's vest or other things like that from my gear makers. Do you have someone you trust to do these, or do you just find vendors online?
So if I'm going for a costume that's usually fairly priced and I need mainly just the clothing part, I use Nikkis a lot. They are overseas, so it does take a while to get them, but the quality has been very nice. Anything that I'm building, I usually use TNT Cosplay Supplies. They have Warpla and Eva Foam. Almost all of my props are made out of Eva Foam. And if I'm trying to commission pieces, I usually just go through like convention pages. And a lot of times you can say, hey, looking for a commission, add a photo, and then I just go with whoever is available that can do what I want within the time frame that I need. I just got a kitsune kimono, and it came from Russia, so it varies.
Where do you get the foam at? Is it like Home Depot?
Eva Foam? Anyway.
Yeah.
You can get it at pretty much any hobby shop now.
Just Joann's, Michael's.
Yeah, a lot of fabric.
Actually, I
and-
need
too.
bigger pieces than what they have, and a lot of times you
Yeah.
can buy bulk rolls through like
Yeah, yeah.
TNT supplies.
Okay.
But
In fact,
if you need a
Mr.
quick
X-
buy, Michael's 20% off coupons always around.
That's
I
true.
was just going to say, Michael's is a great place. Mr. X and I know of a filmmaker who lives out in LA who has just gotten his Eva Foam product in Michael's, Evil Ted.
Oh,
And Ted Smith. We've known him for a number of years from various film projects. And and on that, being that we're working on this fan film and I've been working with Eva Foam too, I'm curious to ask, kind of off our script here, how long did it take for you to kind of get the hang of Eva Foam and how it works? Because it's not easy.
oof. Well, I messed up a lot. We'll just start with that. I'd probably say like a month and a half. It was more difficult because I didn't keep trying to make the same thing over and over again. My first thing that I did was Kirishima, Red Riot, My Hero Academia, his shoulder gears. And luckily, all the things that I messed up, I was like, battle damage, saved it.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to Bakugo's gauntlets, and it slowly became better because I started getting feedback from other people, learning about, heating the foam, sealing it properly with the correct products, and like how to actually use the foam the right way. Because a lot of times you're like, oh, it's foam, just cut and go. It's not at all.
For our listeners out there who haven't seen My Hero Academia, the first sketch you described has literally giant gears for shoulder pads that go almost up over his head. So just think about that. Like that's a massive thing to do out of foam and have it actually be stable and sturdy. And the second guy she talked about, he actually has gauntlets that look like grenades that are like, I would say 4 times the size of your forearm. Like they're huge. Like they are literally bigger than my head. So imagine that, trying to make that out of foam. So like mad props, because I've seen yours and they look awesome. Your cosplays looked awesome. So I was like, props to you. Like I think if I did, they just like fall over flat and I'd look ridiculous. So
It was definitely a task, that's the least to say.
yeah.
So, who are some of your favorite people to cosplay as?
That's a long list. So,
Top five then.
top 5. Okay, that's easier. So the character that I cosplay the most is Deku, or Izuku Midoriya from My Hero.
Okay.
I have about 12 costumes for him.
Mhm.
Basically, any alternate universe Deku, I probably cosplay it. Toga, just because, you know, she's the stabby queen, and I love her feral energy. It's just fun. Let's see. I have to like count on my fingers now because that's where we're at in life. Bakugo, just because I love gauntlets. I really like characters that have props. I don't know if it's just because I'm terrible at sewing and I've stuck with props and I just fell in love with them or what. Gara, Guyliner, and Gord, like, what else can I say there? And then Gon from Hunter x Hunter, he's in the works because his wig is just hard. I'm super excited to get him finished, and he's definitely going to be one of my favorites.
Okay. Do you have a mask of Deku? I always thought he looked more like a rabbit than All Might with his mask, because like I get he's going for like, you know, the tuft, but he always looked like just more of a rabbit, and I
He
always thought
does
that
look
was
like a little
funnier.
bunny.
Right?
So-
It's so fucking adorable.
He almost looks like the rabbit from Donnie Darko.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's green instead of black, but that's what I always pictured whenever I saw him. So
Why are
So-
you wearing that silly bunny suit?
Silly buddies are always the best.
Mhm.
now let me ask you this: when you're doing like the hair, when I first ever tried cosplaying, I was like, how could I do that awesome anime hair? And I was like, this is gonna take a lot of hair gel, and I have to grow my hair out super long. And then I saw one day that you actually, I think, did a wig and like pre-styled it, and I feel like a biggest idiot because I was like, that's way easier and way smarter. So yeah.
So it really just depends on what character you're wanting to do. My first Deku wig was terrible looking back. I didn't know how to style. I didn't know how to style properly. And I learned to tease my wigs beforehand because that gives you that natural fluff and it makes it easier to like do those fine spikes, which a lot of anime characters have because main characters cannot have normal hair. It's like against the law.
Right, it's gotta be like super mega spiky.
Yes,
Just like your video
and
game
it's
characters.
so difficult if you do not tease your wig properly. And
Yeah.
a lot of times you need to tease it, you know, you make sure your wig is clean. A lot of people clean theirs with regular conditioner after they buy it. And flat irons, making sure your twist, you use a lot of gel and hairspray.
Oh, yeah.
I think the first time I tried to do what Smurfy was talking about, I was trying to be my favorite anime character, Vash the Stampede, and I bleached my hair and I tried to spike it straight up with just a little, and it didn't go great. But then my hair was blonde, and then I was like, well, this is my life. So I always recommend the wig.
Yes, but that's ballsy. Like, good for you. Like, I would be too terrified to do that.
It was hard. I never found a place to do the jacket I wanted for entrance. So there's just a time in my wrestling career when for no reason, I'm just inexplicably a blonde. And it's like, wow, okay. So
That's awesome.
Did you have more fun?
Yeah,
as a blonde?
yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah. I hit the beach every day.
I
Bikini
was
and
wondering
all.
where he was
just-
going with that. I was like, what?
Blondes are supposed to
I
have.
get you.
fun, know.
I'm with you. I'm with
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Himiko.
It's not my natural hair color, but we won't tell anyone.
Fair. All right. That's our secret. We will totally cut that out.
Yeah, tricks of the trade. We don't spill the beans.
Now, are there any like I don't want to say like but like YouTube or places you go to like look up instructions or other people's advice on how to do wigs or props or things like that?
So I would say one of the main ones, at least for props, would be I Would Cosplay. He is very well known for his cosplay tutorials on how to build things. And he's one of the few people that I found that does high quality videos with, you know, foam sizes, what materials he's using, and does step-by-step builds. He's what I use to do my Bakugo build. And he actually sells templates as well. So overall, like, probably the best shop that I've used.
So I think something that that we're all kind of curious about is various different experiences that you've had, you know, at different conventions or shows or whatever that that were kind of positive responses and positive experiences. Is there anything like that that sticks out, that jumps out to you?
So I could think of a few different scenarios that I've been in that have been really positive, at least for me. So my first convention was MegaCon. It's the first one that I ever attended, being here in Florida or any state. And there is a cosplayer that I've been following for about 8 months. Her name is Amanda. She goes by AcroCos. She's really big in the cosplay community. I'm talking like 1 million followers between social media platforms. She's so nice, and I was excited because she was announced as a cosplay guest, and she happened to be walking around the floor. And I went into like a fangirl panic. Obviously, I was not approaching her because, we don't do that. We look from afar. And my sister realized that I was having like this internal panic on the side. And she's like, just go say hi to her. And I was like, And then my sister, being herself, was like, hey, by the way, my sister wants a picture with you. And I was like, please don't talk to me. Ended up getting a photo with her, and she complimented my outfit and just the fact that she's such a large influencer, but she was so sweet the entire time. We ended up talking for like 5 minutes, and it was just humbling and really reassuring that it was like a community that I wanted to be a part of, when people who are, out there killing the game 10 years into their craft are still kind enough to take that time. So like that was really special to me. And then just seeing other people come up and compliment you on your costumes and being able to trade like suggestions and tips on the convention floor. It's really nice that there's never been a person that I'm like, oh my God, you look so great. How'd you do that? Nobody's ever been like, no, and walked away. They're always like, oh my God, thanks. This is how we did it. It's like, cool. Like that's super helpful, because when you're new, you literally know nothing. You're like a newborn fawn and you're sucking at walking. So the fact that everybody's so nice is great.
That's a great way to describe it. A newborn fawn sucking at walking.
It's terrible with examples.
Like that. I'm going to steal that.
Nikki, the first time I wore this outfit was at a Comic-Con here in St. Louis, and at the time my roommate, who was actually Dr. Impact's brother, was dressed up as a G.I. Joe guy too, and we couldn't go 5 steps without somebody stopping and asking for a photo. And we actually got to a booth where a professional comic writer was like, hey, my brother drew you guys back in like the 80s. Can I get a photo? And so for me, I was like, that's awesome. That means that we nailed our cosplays. If a guy's like, hey, I got to get your photo and send it to my brother to be like, you drew these guys, here they are in person.
How have I never heard this story?
That's
a great
Yell
story.
at your brother. Because that's a story where your brother then asked him, do you want like a pinup girl or regular? And the guy laughed so hard, he goes, do both. So we did like our butts sticking out, cute, girly pose. And then we did like the real G.I. Joe manly pose. And that was a highlight of my Comic-Con for me. I was like, that's awesome, dude. I go, that means we nailed it. So
I think my Bane costume was probably my favorite costume I've ever done.
You were not Bane. You got called Bane all the time, though.
I know, because it was before Crossbones had become like a big thing in the movies.
Yeah.
Did you walk around and talk like this?
Yes, I did.
That's why they called you Bane.
That was it.
He purposely went around and stood behind every Captain America he could find.
Or Winter Soldier.
And many people were like, hey, do you know this guy? And I was like, yes, that's my buddy Jake. He purposely was photobombing Captain America as the whole Comic-Con. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Nikki, have you ever had a negative experience? Like, I know we just talked about positive ones, but have you ever had just, I don't know, like a real a-hole come up to you and be like, you suck, I don't like you? Or like anything that like really kind of like ruined your day?
So I'm lucky enough to not have that many negative experiences, especially in the community. Because I know at the beginning we talked about, skimpy outfits and things like that. And though I do love to cosplay those outfits as well, because they're candidly characters, cosplay's consent is a really huge thing.
Right.
And, consent is always key. I never mind taking photos with people, and, like side hugs, totally fine. But I was at, Anime Day Orlando. And surprisingly enough, I've never been harassed in any of my skimpy outfits. Like,
that's awesome.
It's been amazing. I was in toga. So it's Florida. It's 100 degrees. I'm in a sweater. Like, this is not appealing to anybody. And I had this one guy who just kept following me around and like trying to like touch me and like hug me and stuff. And I was like, hey, like, I'm cool taking a photo with you, but then like
That's it.
it. And so we took a photo and I was like, cool, this is done. Like I can move on with my day. And then he and his friend continued to follow me and I had to get security involved
Oh
and
man.
to leave. But it's only happened to me one time in a year and a half, and I hope it never happens again. But sometimes it's just very odd to just have those people that just try to keep pushing themselves on you.
Yeah.
Like that, even outside of the cosplay community, like there's always gonna be those jerks.
Well, right. I was just wondering how obviously you handled it. I think you handled it okay. I was gonna say since it only happened once, thank God, that it actually kills my further question. Like, how do you normally handle that? But it sounds like you've had really good experiences. Sorry you had the one negative one. I know as a guy, I will see other guys creeping on girls, and sometimes I try to either interact or, see how they play it out. Because, like you said, cosplay's consent, and no means no. Walk away, dude.
Right, and that's why it was so weird because like I did a female Kirishima, and I mean he's topless, so I had a very very really revealing top, and everyone was like, "Hey, can I get pictures with you?" Yeah, super great. It was an amazing 8-hour day. Toga one day by myself in a sweater, and I'm just like, "What is going on here?"
Right.
Now, what's the longest day you've done this?
Longest day in a character that was comfortable was 9.5 hours as Gara, because his was basically black pants and a black shirt with a white shawl. Super easy, super comfortable. The shoes were great. My worst one was probably female Kirishima, and I wore that one for about 8.5 hours. My top was open because, I mean, he's a shirtless character, and the binding tape that I had used, I guess I sweated through, and all I had with me was super glue. So I super glued my into the shirt for the rest of the convention.
Oh.
Great. It was just miserable when I got in the shower. So roughly 6 to 8 hours for a full convention day. So dress comfortable is all I'm saying.
Yeah, shoes are key. Definitely when you're walking
And
around.
comfortable wigs. Like after 8 hours, like this hurts.
Oh, this hat gets super hot. Like I'm sweating already. You guys just can't see it, but yeah, no, I get it.
Well, and I assume, that thing is bobby pinned in like crazy. So, you've got all these, I would assume these bobby pins like holding it in, and that stuff's just going to dig right into your scalp.
It does, especially if it shifts throughout the day. And you can't like remove one. It like throws everything off. So you just have to
Man, he's got
commit to it.
Right.
An extension of that, I would be curious to know if that's the longest day at a show, what's the longest time you spent on any one particular costume?
Oof. So I am about a month in to building Fran from Final Fantasy 12.
Get out.
There's a lot that goes into that between her helmet and like her ears are so big. Like there's nobody that custom size ears that size. So I'm doing a tutorial from Kompatsu because they have an ear one, and I'm like, just gotta make it bigger. And a lot of clay foam for like her shoes because she has claws on her shoes, and their heels because of course, and her corset is custom. So I'm about a month in, and it's going still.
Wow.
Do you have a Balthier?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I was hoping it'd be like a two. Anyway, yes. Have you ever done any other Final Fantasy characters?
I have not. So I'm like 3 weeks new to the gaming community. I've mainly stuck to just anime characters on themselves. And my friend was like, hey, there's no conventions. Try PC gaming. So like that's a whole new experience for me. I started that 3 weeks ago. And oh my gosh, there's so many fun characters, and there's armor, because like in anime, most women are half naked. I'm like, oh, she has a battle axe. I want a battle axe. Like, why would I not want more weapons? So I'm slowly going over characters in the gaming world that I can cosplay.
Dynasty Warriors has a lot of great characters with a lot of terrifically oversized weapons that I found.
And armor. Their armor's cool too, man.
Yes.
Some of those people. Yeah.
I'm about armor. Like, one, because I can actually make it, and two, because it looks super cool.
I'm trying to think of other like armor style characters like D&D.
I was gonna say, man, the D&D comics, there's a lot of characters that wear really cool armor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing one from WoW, but I have no clue anything about the character. It was just sent to me, and I was like, yes.
Well, we know that you are a big fan of anime and manga. But what are some of your other geeky qualities that you would say make up your personality?
A lot of things. So,
Again, top 5. We'll do top
Yeah.
5.
so I think I have about 9 different manga apps on my phone because I read manga religiously. That's like a daily thing for me with updates. I feel like tattoos are very much a really good way to express your interest in art. So I have a half sleeve on my leg of Hayao Miyazaki, and I'm starting a leg sleeve on the other side of all my favorite anime characters. So, might as well be a branded weeb. Why not?
There you go.
I own more anime shirts than I'm proud to admit. And when I'm out and about and I see like cars with like anime decals, or like I see people with shirts on, I'm like, oh my God, it's a fellow weeb. So I have to say something like, hey, I like your shirt, so they know they're not alone. Because, gotta be, fun about it. Oh, and I know there's that huge thing between like sub versus dub. I'm weird and I like to watch both because I feel like it adds more context to the show. So being that person that watches both.
I'm more of a dub. I don't like to read my cartoons. I like to read my comic books.
See, I'm more of a sub, but I find it interesting sometimes because, like, so the sub versus the dub in My Hero Academia is super interesting to me because in what I feel is the sub, Deku's more timid and more unsure of himself, and in the dub, I feel he's way more confident. And I find that super interesting that they took that and they changed kind of inflections like that. And so yeah, I will watch both. I will always watch sub, and I will always give dub one episode because sometimes dub just finds the worst fucking actors to do these voices.
Yeah,
Right.
they can be bad.
It's like,
I'm
hey,
worried about
person.
Demon Slayer.
Okay, what would you say is your favorite dubbed anime?
Ooh. I actually really like Hunter x Hunter.
Okay. I'll confess I'm ignorant to it. I know of it, but I've never actually watched it.
Oh my God, it's a whole trip. You just gotta buckle in for that.
Fair. I was into One Piece for about 500 episodes, and then I'm like, I can't. I have to be done with this. This will literally consume my life.
Starting Naruto.
Yeah, Naruto's that's a
1,000
marathon.
movies later, Jesus.
Yeah.
Also, Inuyasha was a big thing for me. I don't know why, but I was a big Sesshomaru fan.
Are you watching the spinoff?
No, I want to wait till a little bit more is out because I like to bulk watch things. So it's like I don't want to sit down for one episode. So unless it's like long series, like something like that's like an hour, I'm like, okay, maybe one or two, but like 22 minutes, I could probably go for about 4 to 5 episodes in a row. I like it to be a spectacle for me. I like to get a pizza, I like to get a soda, and I like to just binge, baby, binge. Throughout all of this, we've kind of been asking like specific tips and or tricks or where you go for things like wigs and props. Is there anything that we haven't touched upon that you want to help other cosplayers out by pointing them in directions or tips or tricks of yourself that might help others?
So, trying to think of things that I learned. Got to be hairspray hold for all wigs. It's one of the best ones I've ever used. Get a wig head if you're going to style it. You can get them at Walmart for less than $5. I would highly recommend it. Always make sure to buy sharp blades. So when you're cutting through Eva foam, if you're using a dull one, it'll damage your foam and it makes it really hard to line up your edges.
What do you use? Use like a knife or like a razor, or what do you use?
X-Acto knife?
X-Acto knife? Yeah.
An X-Acto knife. I have a regular like box cutter.
Okay. That's what I meant.
It's called CosTool 45. So it makes 45-degree and 90-degree angle cuts, which is
cool.
helpful when you're beveling your foam. And I've come to realize that I can't draw or cut a straight line without assistance. So it's very helpful. And I would recommend it to anybody who has that challenge like I do. And I think it's $14 on TNT Cosplay Supplies. Again, that's where I buy all of my foam. So the fact that I have foam tools is also a big win. Don't be afraid to thrift. I've gotten a lot of my stuff from Goodwill, at least pieces. I needed a baby blue sweater for Yukine from Noragami, and it's like $30 on Amazon. I got it for $4 at Goodwill. Like, don't be afraid to thrift. Like, it doesn't make your cosplay any less canon, and it's totally acceptable. Like, it's your variation of the cosplay, and it's okay to ball on a budget.
I will say, as someone who recently ruined a load of laundry with something they picked up from a Goodwill, check the washing instructions first. For Peter B. Parker, I found the giant green trench coat, and then I just bought it at the Goodwill and then threw it in the wash because that's what you do. It was a chemical retardant jacket,
Oh no.
so it had all like that black like anti-chemical agents in it, and it just load of laundry. Thankfully,
Aw.
unfortunately, I had to throw the coat away, and I found another coat that worked just well. Mr. X will agree. But I had to like wash that wash 3 times to get it sort of kind of cleaned out.
Oh,
and
man.
then it was wash dry, and I was just like, close enough.
Oh no.
Yeah, well,
Let us know, let everybody listening to and watching, where can we see more of your stuff? Like, I assume you have a website, or do you have outlets online that people can check you out outside of other than just conventions?
Do you do the
So-
social media thing?
Yes, I
Yeah,
do the
right.
social media
Social media deal?
outside of hurricane season.
Right.
So my handle for Instagram is Phung_Shui_. So again, the play on my name. And I just started a Facebook page, and it's the exact same. Try to keep it the same across all platforms. My TikTok is slightly different because I already had somebody take that name, which was super odd. But the link is in my Instagram. All of that is purely cosplay.
Well, we will include links in the description here in the video, as well as the show notes for the audio version of this episode, so that fans and listeners out there, you can go and hit those links and follow and check out some.
Come be my friend. I'm socially awkward, but I'm super good on the internet.
I think the same thing could be said about all of us.
Yeah.
We're socially awkward unless we're together. Then we're
Right.
fine.
Gotta feed on that Fran energy.
I want to thank you again for joining us for this very special video podcast episode. This has been great. I have always wanted to dip my big toe into cosplay, but I've always been too intimidated about, well, I'm a bigger guy. Most of the characters that I like aren't. And, I've always felt, well, if I can't look exactly like the character, then what's the point? But really what it's all about is just being confident in yourself from what I'm picking up from you. So that's helped me. I'm ready. I'll do whatever I want now. My
Do
Let's get
it.
that
If you
juggernaut.
have questions, message me.
my
We can
body
talk.
shaming be damned.
That's right. We'll get you in that Juggernaut outfit.
That's right. I will be the Juggernaut someday.
Also, whenever you're back in St. Louis, if you want to go to a Comic-Con with an entourage of 4 awesomely handsome nerds, we will gladly hang out with you at any con.
I'm trying to come back for Anime St. Louis.
Well, let us
Hey,
know when it
all
is, because we'll free your calendar up, and you can walk us through some cool cosplays. We'll roll with you.
Do it.
There you go. So look at that. You've already got a built-in entourage.
Yep. Whenever you
So
need.
you'll have to let us know who we should be dressed up as, because I gotta say, other than a little bit of Vampire Hunter D and Vash the Stampede when I was younger, I am very ignorant of the whole manga and anime thing.
We don't have to do anime. We could do
Well, no.
something from your guys' fandom.
But I'm saying I want to understand it. I want to learn. So
I'm gonna loan you a Berserk book because it is
That is good, man.
It
Berserk's-
is.
The cartoons are awesome too.
okay.
it is horror. I'll just show. Yeah, you'll like it. I think.
Yeah.
You said horror, so my ears are already perked up. You can't see because they're under these, but they're
Yeah.
already perked up.
It's very like almost like D&D. Like it's very kind of like medieval swords meets like monsters and monster
Cool.
hunting. So yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in person for St. Louis Anime Con. I look
Hopefully.
forward to you coming back on the show to talk about either more cosplay stuff or any other of your geeky, nerdy idiosyncrasies that we all like to share with each other. So
I'm down for
again,
that.
thank you very much for also being the very first female
Ah,
to appear on our show as well.
Literally.
chill.
Yeah, we appreciate
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Mhm.
So that's going to wrap it up for us, folks. I want to thank everybody involved, especially Nikki Phung, who puts the shui in Feng Shui.
Nailed it.
I know. Yeah, I've been working on it
Love
the
it.
entire episode. And until next time, I am Mr. X.
Smurfy.
Dr. Impact.
The Bang Man, Frank Castle.
And our special guest.
Kotoga.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Well, folks, that's our show. We hope you liked it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the My Big Fat Pull List YouTube channel so you don't miss another episode of one of our shows.
And don't forget, we have a podcast. Make sure you head on over and search out My Big Fat Pull List podcast on any one of your podcast listening platforms.
And help us keep the lights on by heading on over to www.patreon.com/My Big Fat Pull List. And you'll know that you can get any one of these amazing shirts right there.
Also, hit us up on all of our social media: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.